to another episode of Are We Clear Yet? Where seeking clarity through dialogue is how we move. I'm Dino, and we got
Treybo.
Al in the house.
J-Dub.
We're so glad you joined us the last time, but we're gonna dig into a little bit different subject matter today. It might get a little intense, but we're gonna have a good time with it. So, Dub, how should we start this one?
Oh well, today, you know what? Let's start with let's talk about social media.
Oh boy,
yeah, I
can already hear the frustration.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago, inspired actually by an ex of mine, I started doing just taking social media breaks to just kind of decompress from a lot of the stuff that I see on there and a lot of stuff that happens on there. So I just got back to social media recently. Just let people know that I'm still alive. If you join us in our last episode, you will understand the reference with that, me being a Broncos fan. But I don't ever run in or hide when the Broncos lose. But I'm back on social media, and just perusing, I realized I haven't really missed much, but it just got me to thinking, just based on the things that I see on there, how much do you all think that social media affects relationships? People who are dating, people who are in committed relationships, people who are married, excuse me. What effects, if any, do you all feel social media plays in part to how these things roll, how they operate, or if they eventually succeed or fail?
That's a lot right there.
It is a lot, right? It's a lot. It's a lot to think about.
I think social media has a big influence on a lot of these relationships out here nowadays.
In what ways? Because I have a couple of thoughts, but I want to get
Why don't
your
you give
thoughts
us your
first.
thoughts first?
Well, let me say this. I think that I think it's critical to where are you taking your cues from? What's kind of like your guiding light? What's giving you direction?
Great question.
So if you're sourcing your methodology, your ideology about relationships from a bunch of people that you don't know, that are probably not qualified, people that you're not in a relationship with, probably not a good idea.
That is a fantastic question. So I'm taking it by, from actually a couple of different sources. One being personal experience, and one being also just being involved in several different Facebook social groups and just seeing the different interactions between men and women in these different Facebook social groups. Because I admittedly, I am a social media junkie. Well, Facebook, I would say, mostly, which is why I have to take breaks from time to time. And those breaks kind of, make me realize how much time I do spend on this app and that I don't need to be spending. So that's why the breaks are important. But now that I'm back, I see that I really haven't missed much. But go ahead.
Well, here's my question, though. I mean, you self-proclaimed junkie, right? But when you get on there, do you allow what you see to dictate how you live your life? Because I think that's the real question here in terms of relationships. Because I can read a post, I can understand the post, I can move on from the post, and I don't have to apply the post. But the question here is, why do so many people get driven in particular directions by a post on Facebook?
Correct. That's you. And that's me to an extent, depending on what's being posted. But, the same argument can be made, and not to do an aside here, but on music. Some people can listen to a track from Eminem, and they're not going to go out and do the things that Eminem is rapping about in his music. So, you can read a social media post and not have it affect you at all. But, everybody is not as mentally strong, or the psyche is just not as developed to just not, because guess what, right? When you go on Facebook, right, the first thing you see when you're looking at your page is what's on your mind. Facebook asks you right there in the status post, what is on your mind? And guess what? Facebook is a place where people always are putting what's on their mind.
They're good at collecting data. They're masters at it, frankly.
Yeah. So, you know, some people are just on there for you know, giggles, just to make jokes, just to make people laugh. Some people want to be viral, you know, go viral. Some people are there to make money. But some people are, you know, actually put, you know, their thoughts on Facebook, you know.
And unfortunately, some people use it to go on rants about their relationship instead of actually talking to the person they're in a relationship with.
Come on.
You see, that makes too much sense.
Yeah. So, so my thoughts, and so Dre asked me this about 5 minutes ago. So he was like, "One of my thoughts." It's I don't know if it's changed. I would just say that I feel like social media is just a medium that brings out
The worst?
who you were before. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a medium there. So, like, if you listen, there's what, over 1 billion users on Facebook, and you have the ability to reach people at basically at your fingertips. You can jump into a DM right there on your fingertips. You can hit the like button. You can hit the love button on a post, and I guess so. Let's just start there because it's like, you know, let's start there. If your wife or your girlfriend posts a selfie, let's just say, right, on Facebook, right, and every selfie she posts, let's just say she does this once a week or once every 2 weeks, she's posting a selfie. Every selfie she posts, there's just a guy or guys with the opposite sex hitting the like button or hitting the love button or commenting how beautiful she is in the comments.
Okay.
Is that something that you need to be concerned about, or is it just nothing?
I'd hope to have a bunch of guys hitting the like button. Why not?
You know about the love. You know about the love button?
No, but I'm saying, but that tells me that what I have is something that's desired. It's something that is beautiful to another person's eye. That doesn't strike fear in me, man. Like because if she wants to go, she's gonna go. I can't worry about that. But at least I know when I look at your post and I see you got 172 likes and loves, I'm like, all right, cool. They agree with me because I like and love it too.
You know guys are following her. So, you know she posting the selfie, you know your wife looks good. Who's gonna like it? So I'm not sure why that bothers anybody. I mean the love part or the comments might, you know, that might be a little much for some people. But liking, I don't think that's a problem.
So let me follow up with this. I'm sorry, go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, I think that all social media reactions are probably not created equal.
Thank you, my brother.
They're not. So, especially, so there's one thing when it comes to certain types of reactions of people that we both know in relationship with, and then I think there's certain reactions by people that we're not. So that's one thing. Further, certain comments that stuff needs some guardrails. Mm-hmm. We just can't be okay with any comment from any person and just saying, "Oh, it's just social media. It doesn't mean anything." Mm-hmm. Because to me, that's kind of indicative, probably, of a problem at home that's living itself out in a certain way on social media for everybody to see. Mm-hmm.
No, is that something she's saying, or is that something that I'm saying? Like, it's a social media.
I think it's
nothing wrong with it.
The fans. Oh, nothing wrong with. Oh,
right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Is that she saying that? Like, I shouldn't worry about it?
When you say fans, who are we talking about? Is this young lady? Is like a big Instagram model?
No, not like that. Not like that.
No,
You know,
okay.
just
You said fans.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but you know, fans. You know, people who just appreciate what she looks like and friends. But let me ask you this, because Al said, you know, he would want. Well, the likes wouldn't bother him, and like he would want the likes because that would let him know that, you know, his woman is nice. I mean, and you know, men in the past, and even now, you know, even out in public, you know, you want someone who looks nice on your arm, you know, because you want that attention. But my question, and going back to Dean's point, do you feel like every single person that hits the like button or hits the love button is doing so innocently?
No, everybody's not doing so innocently.
But you can't control that, though. The fact that it's on the platform opens it to everybody. So
You okay with her having that type of social
but you
media?
can regulate how people respond to stuff. So are you saying you're okay despite the type of reaction that comes her way?
She
how-
can regulate that. 'Cause
Right. Yes,
She
she can.
knows who likes her.
Yes.
She knows who's tried to hit on her before. She knows what's going on. So she see in the comments this dude that sent her a DM in the comments talking about you're beautiful, whatever. She need to
So let's say something
block him, right?
Let's
That's
say
what you
something.
think would
I
happen.
think so. Let's say something gets through, like, "Ooh, you bad," on your girlfriend's selfie. You good with that?
it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
So some people would say right now that's that because see what comes into play here normally is like security versus insecurity, right? So that could just be, Al is right now he's just more secure in his relationship than other people, but which could be true. I would say though that every like and love is not innocent, so you definitely have to be secure in your woman and know that your woman knows how to shut
Quick,
that
I got a
down.
quick follow-up for
maybe he
Al.
does trust his woman.
Quick follow for Al.
Yeah.
You and your girl are walking down the street. Man you don't know said, "Ooh, you fine." You good with that?
Is she fine?
Let's just say she is.
Thanks, bro.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
As long as he don't touch.
He not coming to impact my space.
Mm-hmm.
He's not disrespecting her in public.
Some people think that's disrespectful though.
How though?
I mean,
Now,
touching her
now
is one way,
if it's
but-
a drive-by comment, you good. But if it's a lingering,
if it comes with
lingering, it's
actions, if it
different.
comes with like, it borders on.
I think we say lingering that he keeps.
he's
said
hanging
one
around.
time
He's
hanging around.
trying to engage
watching
her now.
Oh yeah, it
little
can
different.
become problematic at that point.
Okay.
Right? But if I don't engage him, then he loses whatever wind he has. Because sometimes these things escalate, man, because you both are not mature enough to deal with the situation. Right? So if I come back at you now, it becomes all about what we're gonna fight now for what? Like I don't have to fight for what I already have. So for me, it's no point in
That's
getting
powerful
past
right there.
a point.
You don't have to fight for what you already have. That's powerful. Now, so again, that comes back to the security of like, do you feel like you could lose what you have? And I guess for most men who are already taken care of and doing things they're supposed to do, they don't have to worry about that. But I think even then though, I think that's a huge myth.
Right.
Because I'm aware of more than a couple of situations where, guys were doing, quote unquote, doing what they're supposed to do in the home and taking care of their business, and everything wasn't kosher on the home front in there.
Well, you weren't going to be able to stop that, right? So there's another TY word we want to talk about, maturity, right? A lot of these things tend to happen when you got immature people involved in the situation, right? But you come back to the situation where you say to yourself, all right, I did everything I was supposed to do. I brought home the bacon. I provided, I gave you what you needed and what you wanted, and you still went. You weren't going to stop that. That was her mindset from the get-go, right? But I think it comes back to two minds or two people coming together and in the beginning developing whatever foundations are required for sustaining that relationship. If you're not on the same page anyway, it's not going to matter. It wasn't social media. It wasn't real media. It was her or you. You know what I mean? I had one young lady one time complain about, it's not her. Yet she's been the only constant situation in the 5 relationships.
Wow.
So at some point, it might be you.
Just might.
That's tough. Listen, I don't think there is a tougher thing to do in life, or not many tough things, than like self-reflection and saying, damn, maybe it is me.
Listen.
It is me.
I told somebody I was with, man, years ago, that you're worth fighting for. I'm fighting for you. But when I recognize that you're not in the fight with me, then there's no point in having that fight, right? And then you look at it like, okay, what does fighting mean? Now, I'll defend your honor, but I'm not going to fight to keep you if your intention is not to stay around.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Where's the fight, right? So somebody threatens you, I got you, right? If I have to get between you and another dude, and you're in the middle and you're hedging, I pretty much tell you to go. I help you pack. Yeah, I help you pack. I'm not fighting that.
You're already halfway there.
You're
Might as
there.
well
Go.
do the other half.
Yeah, I help you.
Well, see, another aspect that was brought to my attention was the fact that, you know, some people keep their relationships and stuff, private, and some people are saying, there's a difference between privacy and secrecy.
Okay.
We'll address that later, but I've heard that as soon as you become like what they call it, Facebook official, that's when problems start to arise. And so some people prefer to keep their relationships off of social media because it invites issues. It invites different type of just drama that comes to it. So again, is that social media on itself, or is it people?
Social media it can be a weapon for bad, and it could be a fantastic resource for many good things. I think the constant is, what is home like? What's the foundation of home? What's the foundation of the relationship? Because essentially, social media is an amplifier of sorts. It's a lot of things, but it's most certainly an amplifier. It's an amplifier along with a big chalkboard for people to write stuff under it and to react to it and make them aware that it even exists in the first place. So, I mean, what's happening at home? Like, what do we believe in before we share it with everybody else?
Right, because guess what? Listen. Some people may consider saying certain things or posting certain things as disrespectful in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, if you're in a relationship as a guy, and like for instance, earlier this year, before I went on my social media hiatus, I posted like my favorite, like, I don't know, 90s crush, or I may post about women who I'm attracted to, who I just find just so attractive, or I've had this huge crush on this woman for this many years, stuff like that, or stuff, maybe my past history of things that I've done. Would you all agree that there are certain things that, or certain behaviors on social media that you would have to kind of cut out or limit once you kind of enter into a relationship? Like, don't you kind of have to move a little differently on social media?
Maybe. I think it depends. I think social media can never define the standard. So I'll always go back to, what's the standard at home as between you and I? And let's make that consistent regardless if we're posting or not. Let it be consistent when we're out in public. Let it be consistent when we're like around our family and friends and social settings. And then let it also be consistent when we're posting for the world to see. So.
Well, okay. So Dean, if you were like in a committed relationship, would you put that on Facebook?
If I was, that sound like I ain't got nothing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, look, listen. I didn't want to assume nothing, bro. I didn't want to listen.
That hurt me a little bit. Go ahead with the question.
I didn't want to assume. Listen, this is a podcast. I'm not trying to put your business out there. So I left it up to you to correct me if you're already in one.
I ain't.
Oh, okay.
Question.
Listen, inspiring minds may have wanted to know. But so you heard it here first, guys. Dean is single and available.
Are we clear yet at gmail.com? Hit me up. Comment and share with.
And I did say guys. That's the wrong pronoun. That's the wrong pronoun. Girls. My dog Dean is free and single. So Dean, if you were to find
comment with your IG handles, make sure it's public
and subscribe.
Yeah. Would you think it's a good idea to put your relationship on Facebook publicly? And then if you did that, would you kind of would you live your relationship through social media? Do you think that's a good idea?
So there is such a thing called overexposure. That is a very real thing. And so I think the idea would be to to stay as far clear of that as humanly possible. So I don't think there's anything overtly wrong with sharing with the world what we're both happy about. We're happy about being together. We're happy about our future together, and we want our friends and family, both nearby, far away, to know and to maybe also maybe inspire other people. All those are really good things. However, I do think there could be oversharing. I don't think I think you should have your four walls where you discuss and kind of let things be known to each other, and some of those things probably just do not belong on social media unless or until it's been dealt with. So you could use it as maybe like a teaching tool. So okay, we're gonna deal with something over here, and it was tough on us, and we struggled through this, but then we saw the other side, and then okay, well maybe this could be useful to other people after we've kind of gone through it a bit. So I think that's probably a scenario where it's more advantageous to share, but there is certainly oversharing happening without a doubt.
Well, let me ask Al this. Yes or no? It might be a tough question, but do you think social media is a problem at all in relationships?
I don't think there's a yes or no to that because, as Dean said, right? So, oversharing is a problem, and there's no post that writes itself.
Correct.
Whether it's algorithms or how something causes this post to show up on whatever timeline. So my thing is, people won't know what you don't put, and what's happening is people are putting too much information on Facebook. Sometimes in an attempt to make your relationship seem like what it really isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we get caught up, in trying to prove to people outside of your relationship what you aren't.
Wow. Because that's a great segue into what I was gonna say. I do want to address that is social media problem first, though. I'm gonna say that it is or it can be, because I've seen different memes that say from even recently this week when I got back on. There's a popular post that I saw and I've seen several times that says, hey, I can't remember exactly, but just to paraphrase, it's normally a woman that's posting it, and it says, I'm tired of being single. I'm ready to get yelled at about what I post on Facebook.
Oh boy.
Yes, that's what the meme says.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
To me, that indicates that it's a problem. But also, why I also believe that it's a problem is because, one word, fellas, access. I'm telling you, there's a lot of access to people near and abroad, and I think just the level of access you have to as many people as you have. Listen, people know what they're doing on this app, man, and everything is not innocent. Again, I know it all boils down to security and trusting your partner. I know it all boils down to it, but it's a lot of just easy access to idle minds and just stuff that can come in and disrupt what you have going on.
But I think it takes me back to my word, man, maturity. If you're mature in how you're handling your relationship, you're not going to get set up for the okie doke, right? In everything you do, you'll both come together, you'll calculate your steps. If it's all about likes and views, there's always going to be a misstep. But if you and I are in a true relationship that we're doing maintenance on, and that's the thing. A lot of people think, oh yeah, I'm in a relationship with you, and it's just gonna work out. No, like you don't drive your car forever. You get an oil change, change the fan belt every once in a while. There are things you do to make that car run properly, just like in a relationship. If you look at anything in life, it's a conscious decision to make sure that thing is gonna work the next time I turn it on. That's what relationships are. Too many people allow other things, external factors, to drive their relationships. If we can get to a point where we have more mature folks in this world, we will not have this large-scale problem.
Ooh, oh man.
People, we have the responsibility of making conscious choices about like whose lead are we going to take or whose direction we're going to take, because we're all at the end of the day taking some form of influence into our minds on a daily basis. So if you're on social media, cool, that's fine. Use it as a benefit, use it as a tool that builds. But you could also be there to maybe not only overshare, but then you could also maybe not have really some boundaries and parameters around it to where you're letting people get to you and get access to you so they can therefore put certain thoughts and ideals in your mind. So it's kind of, it's the social media is a two-way street. I guess it's some of what I'm trying to say. So before you get on there, and even as a daily practice, it's got to be, okay, what am I receiving from others along with the access to contact me directly and to see what I'm doing? And then what else? What am I putting out there? They're equally significant, I think.
I would just say this. Social media is influential. I think we could all agree. I mean, because right now there are a ton of influencers, is what we call them,
right,
who are getting paid and getting paid very well because of the amount of influence that they have. Again, we're gonna focus on that word, influence, because social media definitely does influence a wide range of people. So I would say that it's just a little bit, disingenuous to say that social media wouldn't have any type of influence on relationships at all when it has influence on people in general.
So
does that make sense?
I don't think we use an absolute here to say at all. Obviously, there is a wide scope influence, whether it's social media, TV, real life. You're out there in the mall, you see something that's going to influence you, right? But see, I grew up in an older era, right? And there was a time when you used your brain. It's that one tool somewhere in the cranium, up in your head, where God gave you this particular instrument to use to make calculated or make better decisions, to think things through, right? And so I can read a post, agree or disagree with it, and move on from it. It won't take me to a level where it's gonna steer my next moment with my girl, or make me make a decision based on what I just read. It doesn't happen for me. Now, I'm not saying it's not something that influences others, but I know for me that I can utilize the brain to make a decision.
Nice. Yeah. And going back to something you said about just it being, what we're seeing on there not being real, listen, I've seen too much on this app. I've seen people, listen, there are people who they will write a 3-paragraph love note to their partner on social media, but these same people, they're not even sleeping in the same bedroom, or I just saw one of the two people involved with someone else.
That's tough.
It is tough, and so it's like, they're living this fantasy life on social media. They're projecting that everything is real, but behind closed doors, again, they're not even sleeping in the same room, or they're sleeping with other people.
Yeah, but
so that stuff goes on as well.
But Jay, nobody wants to hear you say that. They're coming for you, man.
It's the truth, though. It happens. Listen, I've seen it. Listen, I wear glasses. I actually need to go ahead and get another pair. I'm overdue, but that would give me 4 eyes. I've seen this personally with my 4 eyes. I'm not. Listen, I'm not telling you something that I think is happening. I'm telling you something that I've seen. I've witnessed. I've seen. I've seen it personally, in person. I've seen it through video. I've seen it through text messaging. This is the stuff this is what's going on. So why is it so important to portray on Facebook that everything is kosher when behind closed doors is not?
Everybody just needs some friends.
Real ones.
Real friends. Everybody wants to live a life, man. It's like we've all gone Hollywood. That we're missing a script, but we just want to be on somebody's screen, living a life that we want everybody to think is how we're living. You know what I mean? You made a good point. I have people who I know who do the same thing. They'll put on Facebook how great things are, but behind the scenes, we lift the filter and the real come out. And I think what we have to do as people is, if I'm with you, I got to be real with you. I don't have to be real with anybody else. I gotta be real with you. So if we can't do that on the real, then we probably shouldn't be together.
It goes back to that word, influence, right? Social media is so, again, to me, it's so influential that even though we know things are not good at home, we find it important as people to write 3 and 4 paragraph love notes to let the followers know, or think that everything is kosher.
Yeah,
And
but
I just want to know, why is that so important to us?
Well, you should probably phrase it, man. Instead of saying love notes, say love lies.
Oh boy.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, because that's what it is, right?
The goal is to convince at least one person. The one person may just be the person that's writing it and it not being believable otherwise. That may be the thing. I'm not too sure, but writing those paragraphs, there's no accountability in writing those paragraphs. That's not a display of accountability. Accountability is going up to that person and being straight up saying, "Hey, we need to deal with this. We need to sort this out." And just dealing with whatever comes out of the other person's mouth and not running. It's easy to jump online, Twitter fingers, Facebook fingers, however you want to call it, and just go on this, I want to call it a rant, but go on an extended post and detail all these things. And then offline, well, what have you done? You got to show some accountability.
We can put a bow on this real quick and just go to a different topic. But I would just say it boils down to a couple of things. It boils down to security. It boils down to maturity, like Al said. But again, make no mistake about it. It's not just something that is not an issue, because it is. And again, we can blame the medium itself. We can blame the people. I mean, heck, we see memes all day about married men. Excuse me. One of my favorites is single men never shoot their shot, but married men always emptying their clips. You ever seen that meme? Or hey sis, I caught your husband in my DM again. So again, listen, I think it's disingenuous to believe that social media is not an issue at all, and that it does not give people easier access to do things that are just not kosher.
Are you implying that there are people that cheat on their girlfriends or wives on social media?
Oh man, what's the next topic? I think it's time to move on, bro.
Next,
I think it's time to move on, because it's not just men, but let's move on. And so the second half of this, we want to talk about real quick. Is there a statute of limitation on dating the ex of a friend or a family member? So let's
family member.
Yeah, either or. Let's set the scene.
Wow.
Right? Let's set the scene. Let's say you are.
What kind of funny business you talking about over here, man?
I mean, let's say it's 2000. Let's say in 2000 you dated a girl and it was serious. Let's say you were with her for 2 years, 3 years. You talked about engagement, whatever, but things just didn't work out, and you guys went Splitsville.
Mm-hmm.
It is now 2023, and that was your homeboy's girl. It is now 23 years later.
So we're potentially talking about maybe a high school, early college sweetheart thing.
Let's say,
and now we're in our...
Yes, let's say in 2000 you were, let's just say 20 or 21. Let's say 21.
Okay.
And now you're in your mid 40s. All right. So, that's a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
But again, your homeboy dated this girl seriously. Would you feel comfortable trying to talk to her and get something going on with, again, a true homeboy who was once serious with this girl?
So if I have knowledge of this in the front end, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. But let me make it a little bit more interesting. Let's just say I don't have knowledge of how serious the situation was. Let's say we're in college and my boy dated a young lady and I never knew them. It wasn't made known to me by my homeboy that it was ever serious. Okay. Now we're going some 20 plus years later. Maybe. I think it's kind of like a knowledge thing. Like I would need to know how serious it was. I would need to know how serious it was to even really consider it. But if they was serious back in the day, it's a no for me, dog. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Oh, okay. And I'm going to use a word that I don't use a lot, but one part of your statement is impossible. I would think it would be okay. I'm going to say almost impossible. All right, I'll change my mind. Almost impossible for you to not know the level that your homeboy was with this girl because y'all are homeboys, right? Does that make sense? I mean,
let me explain to you what I mean by that.
Okay.
The homies aren't always honest.
Okay.
You could be around people for years.
Okay.
And they portray one thing while another thing is happening.
It's a good point.
And I wouldn't put that in the majority, but it most certainly occurs. So should it be a circumstance where I really didn't have, you really didn't share? Because, in college, contextually, college is a little bit different as far as how you're moving around, the events that you go to versus when you're, out of college in your 30s and your 40s and that type of thing. And college, yeah, some people are a little bit more, out in the open with it. But then there was a lot of people that was like very, very low key. You just didn't even know. Like you knew, okay, John was talking to Jane. But did you know that they were on the verge of engagement? That they were like really thinking about, like, sometimes you really don't know until maybe after the fact. Because there could be like some embarrassment there, some shame there, some stuff could have just went down and you just didn't know.
So again,
but you make a good point.
That brings back to my point. If your friend never shared on that level with you, are they truly your friend?
That's a valid question.
Yeah, but sometimes, like you said, you're going through an embarrassing type situation. You went through some stuff you didn't want to really share. If I don't confide in you, does that make me less of a friend? I don't know. I just think it's something where
it doesn't.
None of us share anything 100%, right? And I think it comes back to a mindset. How am I going to feel about that? Some people don't care, but if I'm your friend, I'd like you to at least consider my feelings if you know, and at least come have a conversation with me so we can chop it out.
Bingo.
Mates before dates, sisters before misters, bros before my friends.
Listen, I will say this. I mean, so we got Dean's answer, I think, from when and I don't want to put words in Dean's mouth, but I heard a resounding no for the most part. So let's bring Dre in this. Dre, again, a girl that a homeboy of yours dated seriously now. So now we're not talking about no floozy. We're not talking about no one night stand. We're not talking about no 3-month fling. We're talking about they were in love, potentially, and they were together for a couple of years. It didn't work out. And now 10, 15, 20 years later, she's available. She's coming your way. Is it your responsibility to say, listen, about 15 years ago, you were dating my homeboy real serious. I can't mess with you.
15 years ago?
15.
Uh-oh.
And
By that tone.
And they were serious?
And they were serious, yes.
Like, what was the ages at this point?
Let's go with 25.
Oh, we're going up a little.
Yeah,
bit.
we're going
25.
let's go 25 and y'all are 40
25.
It's a little different now.
How long they dated?
Let's say they dated for, let's go 3 years. So between 22 and 25.
I think she off limits, bro. I can see you told me something like 18 or something like that, and dude, that's different. But 25, no, I think she probably off limits at that point.
So you're saying, okay, so your answer then to the question is, there is a statute of limitation. Is it? Or basically, for you, the level, I'll put it this way, for you, the time span does matter, because from what I just heard, if there were high school sweethearts, you might consider it.
Yeah. Because
the door's cracked a little bit in that situation.
So what's the difference then between, because we're only talking about what, 5 or 6 years at that point?
Because they really haven't lived their grown up life yet in high school. Like they don't really know what's out there yet. At 25.
Because I think it
They
becomes
kinda-
like how serious were
Yeah.
like people use the word serious when they're like 17 or 18. But were you?
But were you really serious?
I mean, some people marry their high school sweethearts. What you talking
Some
about?
do.
Very true.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they go through some stuff to get to that point.
Okay.
But at 17, 16, 17, I mean, you guys not really going out. You guys not hanging out. You guys not going to like dinner party. You guys not living like adult life. But at 25, if you're not, first of all, you're not doing nothing like that at 25. It wasn't working in the first place. But at 25, they kind of, they grown ups. They probably done with college.
Mm-hmm.
They probably live with each other for a couple years. That's different.
If y'all,
Yeah.
if they just went to prom together,
Yeah, prom and
Yeah, that's
for
nothing.
a couple
Nothing.
years
the
and they
door's
came
cracked
back.
a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah.
Al, weigh in there, Al, because I heard a no from Dean, and I heard it depends from Dre. No first, but depending on the time.
It was a no with the age and the time.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I mean, for me coming up, man, honestly, exes were off limits, bro.
Period.
But that's just the group I came up with. You know what I mean?
Okay. All
The
right.
group that came behind me had different thoughts about it.
Even high school ex?
It was just off. But we had a different mind. Again, I think we didn't have a lot of the influences of the current generation coming through, right? So then it was just code. It was the bro code. Like, all right, it's you. All right, off limits. I'm not messing with that. I think when you get to a point though where, if you are gonna consider it, because for me, I know it's a no for me. But if there's consideration for it, I think it has to be conversation.
You got to talk to the dude
100%.
first.
This is it.
Oh yeah, they gonna know.
But
My
it's-
homeboy gonna know.
But
Right.
But
Right.
No, 25, okay. He still, they were in love. He loved her. He
Agreed.
gonna love her at 20. He loved her at 25.
Right.
High school?
No, and I'm not. See, I'm not even going to.
Like, I'm going back to
I'm not
bro,
going to
I'm-
elementary. I'm not going to kindergarten. I'm not going to. You know what I'm saying? No,
I
no,
understand.
no.
I mean,
Right.
at 16, 17, they dating. They break up 18 when they leave high school. But they claim they're in love in high school.
That's
And
different.
you-
Yeah,
and
like
you
it's
guys, somehow you guys meet up at 35, 36,
different.
and you click. Yeah, you still talk to him, but
It's different. But I still
gonna be
think
mad
even
at me?
even at that age, I would still say, "Hey, Dino, I'm thinking about this, man. I know
you
you.
talk
Yeah,
to him.
yeah.
you still talk to
There's
him.
still a conversation. But yeah, at that point,
And then hypothetically, I'm like, man, yeah, go ahead.
right.
You going ahead? Or you still a little weird about that?
Well, again, that's an era now.
Great
For me, it wouldn't even have been a consideration for me, right? But let's say that it's the era now that there is some consideration for it. That's gonna be tough, man. Because if your guy says yes, the yes really meant no, but he wasn't gonna tell you no. He should have told you no. You know what I'm saying? Because there shouldn't be this ambiguity.
He's
Me
not
now
telling
having
you
to
no
guess.
because he at that point he knows like, I'm in a serious relationship right now
Right.
with somebody else. Like, why am I worried about? I'm not worried about her.
Right. But the question is, he tells you yes. He really wanted to tell you no. And then you go ahead and date her. And he has a problem with you now.
I mean,
That's
maybe.
that's his fault.
Yeah, maybe.
I agree.
You're saying he didn't mean his answer? The
Right,
answer wasn't
right.
true?
He
I
was
mean,
just
he
saying
not
that.
your homeboy at that point.
I agree.
If you my homeboy, you tell me.
He should've told you no.
I don't think that's cool.
And even if you decide at that point to do what you want to do anyway, at least you knew where he
Yeah.
stood. You know what I mean? And then you deal with whatever consequences come up. But, man, listen.
Again, me it's just it's the age.
It's when?
and it's when.
It's when.
Like I said, that 26, 25 between those ages, you know you're in love with this person.
Yeah.
Y'all did a lot more things. You know you're in love with this person.
Either way, I'm telling my boy.
I'm still
Number
no
one.
matter the age. I'm telling.
Number
you.
one. Number two, I'm also considering just on my side, regardless. Was this some puppy stuff in
Right.
teenage years?
Did it mean anything?
Yeah, or were
Yeah.
y'all like, got an apartment together in college and all this stuff.
The only thing about that, most likely you're gonna know what they had because that's
Right.
your homeboy.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all either went to the same school, y'all went to the same church,
Right.
and y'all seen everybody. Y'all know who he dated. Y'all know everything. So you're gonna know what it was. Yeah, I say I loved to in high school, but you know your homeboy. You know what your homeboy was doing in high school. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Huh?
Agreed.
So you know different things. So I don't see. I see me saying, "Hey, bro, we 40 something now. I met your ex-girlfriend back in high school on whatever her name is, and we click. I mean, it's okay with you. It's okay with you if I, you know what I'm saying? We start talking, we talk, and we try to date a little bit.
I
I
think,
don't
man.
see me telling nobody no. You know what I'm saying?
I think it goes back to the theme of the conversation, man. It's a maturity thing. It's a level. It's levels to this, right? And I think if we're honest with ourselves and we're gonna have a real conversation, which I don't think exists as much as it should, then we'll be all right. If we are not in agreement, say you're not in agreement. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're boys here, right? So if you ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna front with you just so you feel good about what I want to tell you. If you don't like what I tell you and you don't talk to me for however long it takes you to get over what you think I told you, that's on you.
He will
But
let you know how he feels
right
right away.
You're not gonna walk away from it not knowing how I felt. And I'm not gonna talk about you with somebody else. I'm gonna talk about you with you. And I think that's a part of the problem, man. So if you come and you ask me, hey, Al, man, you dated Sandra back in the day. Is it cool? I'm gonna tell you, dog, it's whatever. You know what I mean? You got to make your decisions. I'm okay because I'm over Sandra. I'm now on with who I'm with. I don't care about Sandra, right? So if you even considered it, I'm gonna just tell you, just to be real, like it's on you. You know what I mean?
Let me just pose this funky hypothetical, okay? I dated a girl, Jane. I dated Jane in high school.
Okay.
You don't know me yet,
Right.
okay? So you don't know in real time how this was, how it impacted my life, how I was acting, how we were out together, all that stuff.
Okay.
You meet me afterward,
Right.
okay? Now, I tell you about Jane, okay? And so it's almost like, it's not secondhand, but I'm telling you this stuff after the fact. You didn't really see it. Does that affect it at all, or is that the same as if you was just around the whole time and the whole thing?
Now, did you point out who Jane was? And you said, that's Jane, and I was with Jane? Or were you just telling me about a period in your life where you dated Jane?
The latter.
Okay.
Yeah.
It depends on what you say, though. What he's telling the
Okay.
homeboy about Jane. If he's telling the homeboy about Jane that, man, I was in love with Jane, man. That's the one that got away.
But let's say I don't know who Jane is. Like, we just were chopping it up,
Yeah,
having a
going back to
conversation.
the knowledge.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I meet somebody. Now, coincidentally, their name is Jane. They're from a different region of where we are. I don't know that that's the Jane, because she may have moved out west, right? So I met her on a dating app, right, out west. Her name's Jane, but I'm not connecting that. That's the Jane you were talking about.
Yeah.
So we get together, and it's innocent for me because I don't know this person to be the person you were with.
Yeah.
You say met later, like you and the homeboy, y'all just like became friends because
After
work or something like
Random,
that.
yeah.
But y'all wasn't like friends.
Nah.
From
We didn't grow up
kids to-
together. No.
not while
I don't think he has no loyalty to when it comes to Jane.
And that's kind of why I brought it up, to see, like, does the mindset change a little bit? Now, if I just have no knowledge of her at all, and we getting into it, and
Yeah.
we're, man, you might be in trouble, dog, because I don't know if I'm breaking this off.
Right.
But I started to think, okay, well, what if I wasn't around in real time? And it really does matter how you describe that past relationship, because again, specifically in those situations, we don't always describe it
Yeah.
How it
how
went.
it actually really was.
Context matters.
Yeah, we don't always
It
do
does.
it. And so if this person wasn't around, but this brother and I are cool, like we may not really share how we really need to share to get the message across. Like, you know what, this person meant this to me, which I think is critical.
I would just say this. I mean, Al mentioned this again, the word maturity. And, and earlier I mentioned that, listen, self-reflection and self-awareness is and self-examination is very hard. It's a difficult thing for humans to do. That's why we avoid it. But listen, right here, I can tell y'all, I'm not mature enough to handle that. Like imagine to handle this. What I'm about to tell you right now. Like, imagine getting with a girl that your homeboy has been with, or a cousin has been with, or stuff like that.
Family is different though.
I mean,
That's a different level. I mean, we
That- yeah.
family because we grew up together
Right.
from babies to now.
right.
But that's
But here's my thing.
that's
So
a whole
I'm not.
different level at that point.
And before I say this, I know that this is going to be considered, possibly, immature thinking and all of this other stuff, security thing.
You don't
insecure.
say immature things though.
Say what you
But
gotta say, bro.
I would say this because this is gonna come off it's gonna come off wrong, but it's how I feel. Like if I'm watching my bride walk down the aisle, if I'm shedding a tear, this is my beautiful wife coming down the aisle. Like I don't want no dude that's in a congregation who's already been inside my wife.
Ding, ding, da, ding. Okay, does it matter if you know the person or you don't know the person? Are you marrying a virgin?
Why you marrying a girl
So-
that you know somebody already
Okay, so again, that brings back to the point where for me,
that you know?
I
How
could
would
never.
you know that?
I can never get with somebody who has already been with a homeboy of mine for that reason.
You can never get with her seriously.
Seriously, correct. That's the key word. Oh, I mean, come on now, because we know non-serious. That's not
Wait,
even a question. That's not even a
does
question.
it matter how long it's been?
Oh, for me, the statute of limitation is like forever. Like one for me, and that's my official answer now on this podcast. If my homeboy or family member has been with this girl at any point in his life, seriously, she is off limits to me for the rest of my life. That's just how I feel. That's just.
What
that's
about
me.
love, Jason? I mean,
Oh, man, come
doesn't
on, man.
Hey, what's that famous song? What's love
What's love
got to do? Yeah.
So
I just-
again, with D question, how does that affect that?
Oh, see, that's a nice little wrench, and it reminds me
What if
of.
you're already in love with this girl and then you met this dude that? What if you already in love with her? You and this girl already in a relationship, and then you get a new job, or you go somewhere, you meet a friend that you kick it off
You
with,
kick it
and
with,
y'all
yeah.
boys now from y'all tight.
Yeah, man, that's tough.
When he meets your girl,
He says,
that's his ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
That's
that's-
the girl he messed with already.
"Yeah,
Oh, that's you, Jay?
How
man,
how do you feel about that?
man,
But you remember, you're already in love with this girl.
yeah."
Y'all engaged, y'all ready to
Yeah.
get married. You years of love. How you handle that?
I mean,
Jason, like, can we get that deposit back?
I mean, at that point,
Refund.
man, listen, I don't know if I can.
So you
I mean,
already
at that part,
you
I'm
already
too
in
far
something
gone.
with a girl you're in love
and-
with because
yeah.
of a dude you just met. Mess with this girl.
I think that's different. I think for me, I'm thinking more about, like you said, dudes you grew up with, dudes you've been friends with for a long time. If I met her before without any prior knowledge, and we already at the step where I'm in love with this girl and we already talking about marriage, and then some guy that I met at work and we became tight in just a matter because that does happen. That does happen. That happens a lot.
small
I mean,
world.
yeah. I mean, guys you meet. You actually become tighter friends with them in a 6-month period than you do with guys that you've known over 20 years. So that does happen.
He happened to know that he.
Man, that one is a tough one.
But you would want him to tell you though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't
absolutely,
want her to
100%.
out of nowhere. She
No,
tell you,
right.
oh,
But
Did he
see,
ever
and,
tell you that
see,
me
and
and
look, and that's another wrinkle to this.
That's a homeboy
That's
test.
another wrinkle to this.
Because we not cool if I find out the other way.
Come on,
if she
come
has to
on,
tell-
come
yeah,
on,
she-
come
if
on,
she
D.
has to tell
we
me,
not cool.
Come on, D.
if she has to tell me we not cool.
Yes.
Nah.
Man, I can't be your boy.
Like that's why you need to be upfront. Like this is why you need to be transparent with this type of stuff. Don't let me
But you
find
want
out
her-
from somebody else.
But you actually want her to tell you too, though.
Absolutely.
Even if he tell you.
she needs to tell me too.
But what if he tell you first? Are you gonna go talk to her? Or you gonna wait to see if she tell you?
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to see if she.
And
if
how
she-
long
You,
you
gonna,
gonna
you might
give
be
her?
looking like a skeleton.
Man.
boy.
If she don't,
You
if she
right
don't,
there.
if she, because women don't. They know men not good with that stuff.
They know.
They
Right.
don't put that in because they know men not good with
They
that.
know. They know that
So what
affects
if she
us.
said,
That's-
"I just didn't want to take it. I didn't want to hurt you because I know you just met him," but she don't tell you. You know already, but she don't tell you for like months.
I am going to be upset with her because here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna be upset with her. Ready? You ready for this?
You going
Because-
down the aisle?
No. Because I would not do that to her. For instance, meaning if she happened to become friends with a woman that I was with, I'm gonna tell her immediately. Hey, listen, just let you know, your friend Sheila, she and I have a history. Well, what type of history you have,
You
Jason?
want that
Well,
same respect from her.
and so now I want that same respect from her because I don't want her to find out from somebody else. Because guess what? Imagine her finding out that me and Sheila have a history from a third party. Her first question is going to be, why didn't you tell me?
That's it. She mad. She
And
ain't trust
exactly. So now there's a trust issue, right? So absolutely, I'm going to wait to see if she tells me. And if she doesn't, that's going to be an issue for me.
her. I
100%.
agree with that.
Man, I hope that happens before y'all get married, boy.
Because if it don't, nah,
That's
man.
going to be an issue.
Listen, a lot of this that we talk about is maturity. It's just understanding. It's truth. If you're willing to share the truth with the mate you have, you can avoid a lot of these problems. The problem is we are not willing to tell the truth.
Truth hurts, man. You know, truth is not.
It sets you free too.
It does, but 9 times out of 10, truth hurts, and that's why people avoid it. 100%. That's why it hurts. Truth is a hurtful thing sometimes. A lot of
But in
times.
that
So
situation, I don't
is
see how it could hurt anybody.
That situation, I agree.
Yeah, and that's
I mean-
I don't know how it could hurt anybody.
It's uncomfortable,
unless
but
it's
you
still
got to
happening,
get
how can it hurt
comfortable
anybody? Yeah.
with uncomfortable moments.
Yeah.
You got to.
And I think it's necessary because it shows your partner that you're not willing to hide. You ready for this? Trivial things. Because, you know, a lot of people think your past, right, is a trivial thing, right? So why not share with me that you had a history with my friend? Why not share that with me?
Now, at that point, I have another question. Now that you know this, do you trust this person to be around your girl at any point?
Oh, boy.
What you gonna do now?
I gotta ask that question.
Oh, man.
Because you know they had history, and this your boy. You're
Yeah.
gonna invite him over to parties. You're gonna invite him over to places. You don't know how they feeling about each other.
The key is always going to be, I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I will have to I will put my trust in her before I put my trust in him because I just know how guys are, and I just know we have like this thing. There's this nature in us, man. I don't know. You know, we kind of have to kind of like make we have to think logically and kind of suppress like some of our natural desires sometimes. But I would have to put my trust in her that she knows how to set boundaries and knows how to set them firmly.
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking. Like, what's a discussion at home? Like, what have we agreed upon? What are we deciding how we're gonna walk this thing out? Now, are we gonna like avoid talking about stuff and just go with the flow, which is a terrible idea, or are we gonna decide straight up, like, listen, in order to protect what we have, what we're building, we need to decide to do this or to not do this for the purpose of keeping this strong, for the purpose of having some guardrails, for the purpose of just being honest with each other and being able to trust each other. But that whole just go with the flow and oh yeah, there's no way she's gonna do this and just hoping and wishing. Nah, ain't no hoping and wishing. We're not doing no hoping and wishing stuff. Nah. And we got to be accountable to each other on that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let me throw it back at you, Dre. Would you trust him or her? Would you trust him around your girl moving forward?
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a tough question.
You might have to move, though.
No. I mean,
They really.
I mean,
at the same
I
time,
would-
They really
Listen.
shouldn't be in a position where you have to trust them.
yeah, correct.
Why would they be alone? Why would Why would you not be around?
Here's a
You
real,
understand what I'm trying to say?
here's a real simple thing. Like, all right, we're all friends or whatever. How about don't be over by the kitchen sink, keying, and carrying on a certain way. It's just like stuff like that. It's about respecting
It's
and
a
honoring
respect thing.
and honoring the relationship.
It's like, for instance, like if my homeboy, if I need to go pick up something from my homeboy's house and it's just his wife home, like, I mean, I shouldn't feel a way about that, but I'll just be like, man, when are you gonna be home, bro? I'll just wait till you get home before I come. You know, like, you know what I mean? For me, it would just feel weird to just.
That makes sense.
It shouldn't. I don't think it should, especially
But
like
I
if
think-
you're friends
but
with
I
this
think
guy. It
if-
shouldn't. But out of respect thing, like I wouldn't go to his house
But I
without
think
him
in
there.
our
You know.
situation, knowing that we grew up from here to here, I think we should be able to trust each other around our wives.
I mean, I agree.
The trust,
100%.
I should be able to trust you guys around my wife to say, "Oh, I'm not there right now. Just tell her to bring it out, or just whatever. We'll get it."
Trust with boundaries, though.
What type of boundaries do you need? She's just going to pick up something. What you in there doing?
Well, not
I ain't
necessarily that specific
sit down and
situation.
talk, but I'm just going to pick up something.
I'm gonna
I should
say
be able to trust you to go pick up something.
Yeah,
So,
for basic
yeah.
things, yeah.
the
If
key.
I'm not around.
But
the
you can
key word.
foresee, you can probably foresee some situations where, you know what, this might not be the best idea.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. Let me go
For
further.
us though, in our situation,
Well, maybe not us, but
that's what
Before
I'm
you,
trying to
real
get.
quick, Al, the key word is should. The
Yeah,
key
the
word you said
operative.
is should. The operative word is should because guess what? Listen, we real talk, right? Plenty of people have been in a situation where their home girl or their homeboy crossed the line. Plenty of people have
Very
that
true.
story. So that's the way it should work, but doesn't always happen. Go ahead, Al.
Bruh, if I can't send my girl to your spot and she can't come inside to pick something up and I can't trust you and her, I'm with the wrong girl and I got the wrong friend.
for sure, for sure.
100%.
Right? So I'm to the point where if I send her to you, I don't worry about it. If y'all decide to do what y'all do, I'll write her check by. I'm good. Either way, I'm good, but I got to know that I can send her to you and know that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. She's going to get what she's supposed to get.
And be gone.
And I don't got to worry about it. And that's it. So if I can't do that, I don't need you in my life. You, her, you, him, whoever.
Indeed.
Yeah, and that's just it. So I think
And
Because your girl supposed to be like we brothers. That's supposed to be like your sister at that point.
correct.
100%.
Correct.
You're supposed to-
100%.
you're supposed
Correct.
to have the same respect. You're supposed to have respect. That's your sister at that point.
All I will say is, Al, what you said is 100% correct. 100%. Not 95, not 99. Is 100% correct. The only caveat I would add to that is there are a lot of people who have said that, and that's why the betrayal that they experience hurts so much, because they just would not expect that their friend would do them this way.
I agree. And I've been in situations where I've had people say things but it's good when your friends know you and they know that that's not you. Like, nah, Al ain't doing that. You can make that up. You can say what you want. You can do what you do, and it doesn't matter. Again, it comes back to maturity, comes back to serious trust, and it's conversation, man. Like
And security.
security.
Security, too.
Yeah.
That's big.
You know, like I told you before, man, listen, I tell you, I will defend you, but I won't fight to keep you if you're already halfway out.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. So we can we can move on from that, but it's just what it is. You know, common sense, man, common sense. It's not so common, and that's our problem.
Let him go.
Yes, sir.
Good talk, fellas. Good talk, man.
Hey, there was another classic episode. I really loved this one, but that brings us to an end. All good things have to come to an end. We want to thank y'all for joining us on this discussion. We hope that you enjoyed it. We certainly did. And if you enjoyed that show, listen, like it, follow it, subscribe to us, share us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to come back next time. Until then, this is your boy Dino.
Your boy Drabo.
Al?
J-Dub.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Yeah.